Hello, you are listening to the Childcare Director's Chair podcast. Your host, Erica Sacosio, invites you to join her community of passionate and inspiring leaders in the ECE field, where she discusses, reflects, and shares the best ways to invest in our children, families, teachers, and community. Because after all, we know they are the heartbeat of any successful program.
Hey guys, Erica here with the Childcare Director's Chair podcast. I am so thankful that you hit the play button today. I want to thank my loyal listeners who literally tune in every single day. And so with that, I want to share a little love with you. If you hit the text the show option, tell me what episode you like best and why. We are giving away a $100 gift card to Lakeshia Learning, which everybody loves that store. And so just let us know in the text show what's your favorite episode, why, and be sure to give us your mailing address. So if you are the lucky winner, we know when to mail your gift card too. So today we have an amazing guest with us, and we're going to talk about having quality while you scale up your childcare center. And I talk a little bit about this frequently on the show. I know for some of us, we want to scale up. Some of us have already scaled up and have scaled down. But the most important part, what I really love about this person is they also care about quality, because quality is so important. And we know sometimes that can go a little awry as you get bigger. I would like to introduce Lakeshia. I'm going to say your name wrong.
Nnamani.
Thank you. So tell folks a little bit about yourself. Tell folks a little bit about
All right,
yourself.
so I have the pleasure of having the opportunity to work in all fields of early childhood. I have been a pre-K teacher, kindergarten teacher, worked in all areas of childcare, child development professor, name it, I probably have done it. And so with that experience, I take that with me as a preschool owner and also as a business coach and consultant.
Awesome. So I love too that you have both pieces, because sometimes when we meet folks in the field, they have the early education piece, but maybe not the business background or vice versa. So it's great that you're so well-rounded, which qualifies you to be a coach, right? Because not everybody's qualified to be a coach. Some people just make the business card. So we're going to keep it very real here. So thank you so much for sharing a little bit about yourself. Could you talk a little bit about your background in childcare and your experience
One of the
with
main
scaling
things that I
up
do
childcare
is
centers?
work with programs in my area that are wanting to go through the state accreditation process. And so, one of the things that I've noticed when it comes to everyone wanting to do the state accreditation process is they're forgetting that they must meet licensing standards first. So quality is going above and beyond. And so a lot of times when I'm meeting people, I'm traveling, I'm working with clients, I'm like, you brought me here to talk about quality. We have to get the license and we have to get the bare minimum. We have to get the health and safety of the children addressed first. And so that is something that I talk a lot about, that we can want the accolades that come with it. We can want just the recognition and all of those things, but making sure at the core of your program, the children are safe and healthy, and then you can grow from there.
Yeah. So I was on your Instagram page today, actually. I come from the after school world first. And I loved you had a cute little picture graph, I guess, if you will. And you talk about safety, head count, supervision, counting vans, transportation, right? So yes, I couldn't agree more that safety has to be obviously first and foremost across the board. And then, as you said too, licensing, like how can you even think that you're going to be credited if you have 15 licensing violations, right? You got to clean that up first. It's like your credit score. You got to clean up your credit score first before you buy a new house, right? And you don't start with the mansion. It isn't, accreditation is something that is a process, and it is a journey. You don't just say, okay, let me fill out the forms. Here's the fee, and now I'm accredited. There's more to it. There's a lot of work behind it, which I totally understand, because my after school program was the first accredited after school program in the state of Rhode Island. And we also, and two of my programs were the first 4-star. We have a quality rating system here in our state too. We were the first first after school program to earn a 5-star. And then my 2 preschools were the first to earn a 4-star in my
It did.
city. So I am 100% about the quality. But
It
it's a
does, and I
journey.
don't think a lot of
It's a
people
journey, and it
realize
takes a lot
that.
of work, and it
I
takes a
think
great team.
because
Yeah.
people see my Instagram, they think I'm a miracle worker, right? So they think that they're gonna hire me, they're gonna bring me in, I'm gonna sprinkle my sauce, and boom, they're going to, get to that part with the accreditation. But just like you said, it's a journey, and we have to change the habits of the leadership team, and we also have to change the habits of the teachers, because for a lot of us, we do the state accreditation process
Mhm.
after, which means you've been open. You've been doing what you want to do, following your own rules, and now everybody's mindset has to change. And that's not an overnight thing. And quality in itself is a journey. It's something that you should always be striving for, and there's always room for improvement.
You are speaking to my soul, Lakeisha. Yeah. And quality, although might look different to certain people, like the fundamentals are the same, right? We're going to have our different philosophies and missions and teaching, theories, but at the end of the day, safety is safety, quality is quality. It's backed up by research. It's not things that you and I made up. you know um so scaling up a childcare center can be exciting but also challenging. So working with your clients, what are some of the
The
common
biggest thing that
growing
I have
pains
found
that
is the
directors might
teachers.
encounter during the
The
process?
teachers not really understanding. And so it's like, we as the directors and the owners, we see so many benefits from the accreditation and enhancing our quality. The teachers don't necessarily see what benefit that is. All they see is you're giving them more work, right? And so that is one of the biggest thing. Like, we have to spend so much time on mindset with the teachers, getting them to understand that you're not a babysitter. That's not your role. You are a teacher. You are a respected teacher. So it's really that mindset. And so, I'll have clients, they'll say like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, like, I want to continue to do this, but I'm afraid some of my teachers may quit. Well, you better start hiring then. You better start interviewing them, because if your goal is quality, it's not just so that you can get through the initial accreditation. You need to be able to maintain this. So you have to bring people on your team that's going to do the things. And if the
Mm-hmm.
current teachers you have are not willing to elevate with you with quality, then they can't go with you. So that's one of the biggest. Correct.
They are not the right people. Yeah, they're not the right people for you. And I think too, when you think about your brand and your legacy that you want to leave, is it going to be one of excellence? Do you want to be mediocre? I don't want to be mediocre. And so those folks that are not willing to, well, first of all, that they're going to weed themselves out, because as you said, they're not willing to do the work. But what happens is you do start to get some synergy. I'm sure you've seen this in many centers. Once you start making those improvements, people start to buy in. And then you have not just the leadership, but each other. They're working together. That's what I found in our program. They started helping each other. Like, hey, you're not really that great with like doing your boards or doing your shelves. Let me come in your room. Let me help you. And people started working together, and they started getting excited again about work. And I think that after the
Correct.
last 4 years we had, girl, not everybody's excited to come back, right? So I think it's a great way to kind of remember your why and get excited about what we are really doing here, why we're here. So, I mean, that's my take on it. At least that's how I perceive. We're getting ready to do our renewal for our 4-star program. And,
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, like, let's get back to this. Yeah, I forgot about that, so we were so caught up in keeping everybody apart and cleaning everything 20 times. And, the labels came off for sure. All those labeled shelves, those were done during the pandemic. Every 10 minutes, we were cleaning it off with bleach and water and all the things. But yeah, getting everybody back on track and remembering their why. So maintaining quality is so critical, especially as a center grows in size. What strategies do you share with people or best practices that you recommend to
Got it.
ensure
So
that quality
I am an
standards are
advocate for
being
checklists. So you
upheld
should have a
during
checklist
expansion?
literally for everything. Normally, a lot of coaches talk about checklists, but I think we forget the accountability piece. So I always tell my clients, just because you created a checklist and you printed it and you put it in a binder, it
Mm-hmm.
is not a system if you don't make sure it's done. Okay. So if we say that this is how something is going to be done, then who is checking that person? Who's checking the checker? Okay. And so that's the biggest thing because, as you get bigger, right, you have more teachers, more kids, just more of everything. And it may equal more problems if you don't have a system or a flow. So I'm very strategic. So I tell my clients, hey, make a calendar, okay? And I don't try to remember everything. I put it down. What is everything that is needed to be done this month? And let me tell you guys, type that stuff up because in the childcare world, the same things come around every year. Why are you shocked that it is Christmas time again and Christmas comes at the every time
Mm-hmm.
every year, right? Get you some systems so that you can prepare in advance. So you're not going crazy, you're not running your teachers crazy, and that you just can ensure that the
Mm-hmm.
quality is just maintained. So checklist, checklist, checklist.
Yeah. I think too with the checklist, I feel like as an owner, especially if you own multiple sites, it's really important that you do your own compliance visits, right? It's great to have a great director and have them be in charge. And don't be mad at me because I know a lot of you directors here, but I think you have to have an actively involved owner to be able to make sure that what you think is happening at the admin level is in fact
Correct.
happening. And I think too, what you check and what you inspect is what people will take care of. If you tell people to do checklists, because I live this life just like you tell people to do checklists and you never check on those checklists, and then you pop in 8 months later and you say, "Where are those
Mhm.
checklists?" Well, I don't know. I didn't do them because nobody looked for them. Nobody asked for them, right? So yeah, so it's
Yes,
more
and I
than
think
putting
you
it in a
said
binder. If
something
no one's
so
coming around
important.
looking for it, that will die really
And I'm
quickly.
gonna ruffle some feathers, but since you started it, I'm gonna finish it, right? There's a lot of coaches out here that's talking about like
Let's ruffle
being hands
them.
off, being an offsite owner. And the thing about that is, how can you delegate for someone to do something you don't even know how to do? How you telling somebody to get in your classrooms and make sure your classrooms are in compliance and you can't quote nothing out of minimum standard? You can't hold nobody to a standard that you're not doing. Yes, you may have an awesome, director and management team, but at the end of the day, they could walk away and go get another job. This is your livelihood. This is what's funding your lifestyle, your family. This is your name and reputation on the line. Stop putting it all into the hands of someone and you're not checking. Okay. You always got to check.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be plugged in. I'm not saying you got to be the
Correct.
janitor. I'm not saying you got to be the toilet teacher. I'm not saying all that, but I am saying you got to be plugged in. You got to be involved. You got to be engaged in some way that makes sense. But if you're not checking, you have no idea what's going on. And I mean, how many times have you seen directors bounce out of their program and take all the staff and
Correct.
all the kid and everybody, right? And you know why they're leaving? Because they don't know you as an owner, right? They have put all their trust in that director, right? So I know I'm
True.
sorry I took us off topic, but I mean we're speaking the truth of things that really happen. So I think that is important in keeping people accountable and also being there, being present in your business in some kind of way. Again, I'm not saying you have to be in every part of the day-to-day operation. That director is there to alleviate some of that for you. But I think too with accreditation or quality, you got to walk the walk, right? You can't say, "Hey guys, I want
Hmm.
this certificate because I'm going to get paid more," right? Because that a lot of states, if you have a quality rating system, right, and you're accredited, you get to jump through less hurdles or you get paid a little bit more money. Nobody's going to get behind it so that you can make more money. They're going to get behind it because it's the right thing to do and they see their part in it and they're passionate about what we're doing, and that's going to come from leadership. That's going to come from you. Comes from the top, comes from the top down. At what point do you think that directors should start considering expansion, and how can they determine if their center is ready to grow? Because not everybody's ready to grow. Because one center is real easy and you can know everybody and your staff is amazing. Because let me tell you, getting 10 talented people is real easy. Getting 45 is a little harder, and getting 100 is a nightmare. Right? How do people know when it's time to expand, or what should they consider before they make that move? Yeah. Yes, it helps with consistency for sure. But it only works if again, you're following up and following through, because having multiple locations, the directors are different, the staff is different, right? They're not clones of each other. So how do you make sure that the important pieces are done the same way that meets your brand expectation, right? So I think that that is something that I had a challenge with at some of my locations, or some directors, as you said, were more invested than others. And you could
Mm.
see that, you could feel it as soon as you walk in. And I think it's probably the same as you said, McDonald's. Like, you could walk in a McDonald's, although the hamburger is the same, you could walk in some McDonald's and the building itself is disgusting. And others is, they're opening the doors for you and the glass is all clean, right? Same
Mm.
hamburger, but not same service, right? So I
Correct.
think it's that same thing as you scale up. Yeah, you got to make sure that that follow through is there, Is there, let me ask you this, is there, in your opinion, something to the effect of too big? How do you know when you've become too big of a childcare center? And then how can directors assess when the center has reached its maximum capacity without compromising quality?
Got it. I think that you will know when the center is too big, when you can't manage it. When you are getting more parent complaints than you're getting compliments, okay? When you're noticing that your licensing deficiencies are increasing, when you're noticing that the kids are not as happy. We know that some kids deal with separation anxiety, but if everybody that comes through your door is crying because they don't want to stay, okay, we got to have some conversations. And so you want to take all of those. So, what I recommend for my clients is whatever your licensing capacity is, I want you to break that number into fours, okay? And so, for example, if your licensing capacity is 100, when you get to 25 kids, you're going to pause, you're going to assess your quality. How's things going? Do you have a good, solid team? Are you getting licensing deficiencies? Are you getting parent complaints? And if you answer yes, you have a great team and no complaints, no deficiencies, okay, let's grow to 50. Okay, let's reassess again. Let's grow to 75. Let's reassess again. Let's grow to 100. So just kind of have these different checkpoints and understand that whatever licensing capacity that you have, you don't have to reach that number if it's not comfortable for you, right? So, like for me at my preschool, what licensing says my capacity is and what I say my capacity is different, because to me, I don't see how in the room, in the space I have, how they even factored that number, right? And so that was for
Mm-hmm.
me. So just having those real conversations with yourself, because as a business owner, you can do what feels good to you.
Yeah. And I love that you have ethics. I really appreciate um your message, because I think we need to say it, because I do feel like you said, there's a lot of folks out there that are like, make people feel like it's bad if you want, like, you feel bad like that you want to work in your center, or you feel bad that you don't want to have 55 centers across 8 states, right? So I think you're right, exactly, like, do what feels good for you. So if you need permission or somebody to tell you that, we're here to tell you that, like, it's okay to want to only have 2 or 3 centers. It's okay
Mhm.
to be in that space where you want to walk in each location, get hugs from children that those things are so important. Yes, it's a business. Nobody is saying that it's, you should feel bad about making money. Of course, make your money. You need to make money. It's a business, but it's a business of love that comes from the heart. It's not a factory. And so I think, it's important that we remember and keep sight of, we here to serve children and families. And that's got to be, number one. So what are
Yeah.
some, she said, yes. What are some key indicators that directors should monitor to ensure that quality is happening?
Yeah, so some indicators will be, first of all, I'm going to always say licensing. So just making sure that you're going into the classrooms and you're doing mock inspections. So what I always say is, you can't wait for licensing to come for you to be shocked that this is what's going on in your classroom. So you need to be in the know. So as a director, you need to be on the floor. You need to be moving around. Yes, we have paperwork, but let's do that paperwork during nap time, okay? When the
Mm-hmm.
kids are up and the teachers are engaged, let's be moving around, right? So let's find time in your schedule. And I know It's not much time when you're juggling multiple hats, right? But find time in your schedule to go in the classrooms, okay? And sit back and observe and say, hey, okay, today or maybe this week, my focus is going to be story time. I'm going to go into each one of my classrooms and
Yes.
sit into story time. I'm going to take notes, or I'm going to model the story time. And if I observe my teachers and I realize, like, hey, like their story time could use some support, I'm going to make time in my schedule to go give them that support, or maybe I bring in an outside person. But you want to make sure that you're actually doing the things right. You guys can have an amazing curriculum, but if the teachers are not implementing it properly, are the kids really learning? Was it really worth the amount of money that you spent, right? You can have these amazing classroom centers and toys, but are the teachers talking with them? Are the teachers facilitating that language, right? Are they providing that positive teacher interaction? So you don't know that if you're just sitting in the front, just, oh, I'm just sitting, I'm just doing paperwork. No, you got to get on the floor, because when the teachers know that you're moving around, they're going to be on their P's and Q's. And I always say you have to inspect what you expect. Okay. Because if they know that you're not going to be like requiring that they follow this schedule, they're not going to follow it. If they know you're not going to check and make sure that they're doing the curriculum, they're not going to do it. It's going to be in that pretty little box from that company you got it from, right? And it's just, you just wasting your money. It's, quality has to be something that is consistently monitored.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. That is 100% a fact. Something I live regularly and talk about regularly, with my team. You're 100% right there. And that's why I said you've got to be present. You got to be present. And I think too, one of the ways that, because you're right, we don't have a whole lot of time as directors. There's a lot of requirements of us. But if you're scheduling in that time, I think that will help you be able to do both parts of your job. The other thing is, I don't know about you. Have you subbed in a room anytime in the last month?
Yes, I have. And
It's okay. Don't
woo,
say it's sad. I, I've done it too. But here's the thing. Here's what I took that as an opportunity to say, while I'm here, I can still do my director piece while I'm supervising children. It allowed me to see the coworker in the room. It allowed me to see, hey, are there any kids in the classroom that are struggling that might need some extra supports? It allowed me to see what really happens, right? Because the way that folks act for the 20 minutes you're in the room is a little different when you're with them for 9 hours. Like then you see the real things that are
mm-hmm.
happening, right? And so it gives you an opportunity not only to have that real life observation, but also to do some peer coaching, which is part of our job anyway, right? So
Yeah.
working with that co-teacher in the room, so making the most of that time, because that is something I hear a lot. But I was in the room most of the time. I couldn't really get my things done. That isn't true. You probably could get a lot more done if you use that time wisely, right? And that's a
Mhm.
great way as quality, right? That's part of getting accredited is doing those classroom observations, doing those, looking at your materials, looking at your shelves. Do I have enough supplies? It's a great way to figure out what do you need. Sometimes teachers are on it and they're like, my daughter Haley's like that, like, mom, we need this color paint, this color paint, this color, but not all teachers are like that. So it gives you an opportunity to walk the walk and be, them see how you work with that child who might be a little bit more difficult, or your suggestions as the leader. So I think that it's always a great opportunity. So that's the way I try to look at it. So let's talk about our team. So building a strong team is essential for maintaining quality care. How can directors effectively manage staffing needs and ensure that new hires align with the center's values and philosophy?
Right. So you need to show your staff appreciation. And I'm not just talking about National Teacher Appreciation Week, okay? That is not the only time, right? You should be always showing appreciation to your staff. And this is not necessarily a money thing. I think social media has made it this big money grand, who can go bigger, who can show their staff the most appreciation during this week or holiday. It's not about that. It's about showing your teachers that you care. It's about showing your teachers, hey, I'm here with you. I know we're a little short staffed right now, but I don't mind coming in the classroom helping you sweep up a little bit. I don't mind coming in the classroom and helping you hang up art. I don't mind doing that. So I feel like being a team player plays a role, giving the teachers an opportunity to share what's going great and also share where they may have some challenges and they want to grow in. We have to continue to support our teachers. That's one of the things that I'm big on. For a lot of us, when we bring in new teachers, we train them, right? But then after they go through our new hire process, we don't train them anymore, but we expect for them to be successful. So I believe that if you want a great team, you have to have ongoing training, ongoing mentorship. I'm always taking my teachers to conferences. I'm always taking my teachers to workshops. Or if I see like a YouTube or a TikTok or anything that I feel like is beneficial for them, I'll send it to them, right? Because I always want them to grow. I also care about them outside of just being an employee on my payroll. So I want to know what's going on with you. Okay. Are you in school? How's school going? Okay. You engaged? How it's going? When's the wedding? And it's not about like blurring lines because I'm very professional with it. But I want to connect with you. Okay. I want you to know about me and I want to know about you, right? And then as far as your new hires, it's very important that you have an onboarding process so that you can acclimate them. Because one of the things that I have found is it's not that this teacher was not a good worker, it's just they didn't work for my program. I'm sure someone somewhere else they are like the top employee of the month, but for what we have going on here, they just don't fit the culture. So I always, say like, look at your teaching team as gumbo, because I used to live in Louisiana, so I love gumbo, right? So you want to make sure whatever you put in that gumbo pot is going to make that gumbo be flavorful. So if you know that that teacher that you're considering to bringing in is not going to fit the culture, let's not hire them just to say we're hiring them, right? And then also doing a check-in. So like when I do bring in new teachers to my team, every week I check in with them. Tell me what went well this week with you. Tell me how can I better support you as an administrator? Because I want to know. Because I may be thinking I'm doing all the right things, and they may say, hey, like, I know how to do this, but this I'm really struggling with. Because for me, my program is very high quality. And a lot of teachers that I get, they're coming from like daycares, right? And so they're not used to having to follow a schedule. Like they know how to keep kids safe, they know how to change them, they know how to feed them. But now you're talking about while I diaper change them, I gotta sing a song. What? They're not used to that. I can't just tell them to sit down, I gotta sing a song. They're not used to that. And so if you want to make sure that whoever you bring into your program, truly is being acclimated, we have to do that at the interview process and the onboarding to, make sure that quality is where we want it to be.
You shared so many things in that one breath. So I'm going to back up a few of these things that you're saying with some really quick stories or examples. So when you had said, being a leader and hopping in a room and sweeping a floor or just helping out where needed, it brought a smile to my face. It made me think about a teacher. Her name is Miss Sherry, and this is probably, she's been with me for about 2.5 years now, but this was like maybe 3 or 4 months in. And she was standing in her classroom and I tied up her trash. And then the director, Miss Angela, was in front of her classroom cleaning the windows. And I brought out the trash and I came back and she had this look on her face. I said, "What's the matter? Is everything okay?" She said, "I have never in my life worked in a center where I saw an owner take out the trash or a director cleaning a window." And she said, "That's when I knew I was in somewhere different, a place that was different." So it means a lot to them. And I looked at her, of course, because I'm like you. I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, why wouldn't I take out the trash? Like, we're a team." And she's like, "No, you don't understand. That isn't everywhere." So just like that example you had said, right? Because sometimes we discard our own quality because, we're used to it. We're entrenched in it. It's what we believe in. And sometimes we may discard it and not even acknowledge the fact like that This doesn't happen everywhere. Like you said, like with the new employee singing the song to the baby as they're changing the diaper, right? We're just like, of course, that's how we do it. The other thing I think too, when we talk about like growing and investing in our team. So this actually happened to me this week. So I had an employee who has been with me for 20 years. She is 20 years. She gave me her notice. She is leaving. It was probably the hardest thing she ever had to do. She's a licensed school teacher. Her name is Miss Marcy, and she is leaving to teach at a charter school. And I said to her, I am so proud of you. And she said, I was so nervous. She said, we have been together forever. Now, 20 years, you can imagine. She was 20. She's now 40 years old now. So, she grew up working with me. And it was so hard, but she was so appreciative. And because she was so nervous to tell me. And I said, honey, I always want what's best for you. It's not what's best for me. You could stay here forever, but what's best for you? So investing in your team is so important, and sometimes growing people out of your program, and that's okay because you want the best of your best. And once you really reach that best of the best status, sometimes that means they move on to open their own centers or do other things. Maybe they become a professor, maybe they go out on the road, they become a coach, and they're working with other people to elevate, which we all need. We need that. We need many people helping elevate our industry and making sure that we're all kind of toeing the line, if you will. Sorry, but those are just two things that, just from your story of things that just really resonated with me. So let's talk about technology, because technology can definitely play a significant role in streamlining your operations and maintaining quality. Are there any digital tools or software solutions that you recommend when people are growing their childcare centers?
Okay, my number one favorite, okay, is Google. And you may say, what? There is so many things that Google offer that I think we don't realize. And even myself, it wasn't until I got married and I had my baby that I realized I'm not always at the center anymore, but I still need access to these very important things. And so for me, I used to always just type documents, save them under crazy name, and when it was time to look for them again, I couldn't find it. I didn't know where it was. I was trying to email myself. I'm like, I know I typed this letter. You're laughing because you know. It's just like
I'm laughing because I know, because I've done it.
I know, but I cannot find because I probably did like a weird name. I probably was in the middle of something. So one of the things that I tell my clients is Google. So creating a Google Drive. So for example, let's say when it comes to like your infant classroom, what are the documents that you always know that you need to have on hand at all times? Let's get that into a Google Drive folder. So we're not looking all of our computer, all in our email for these documents. They're right in Google Drive. I also like to type documents on Google Doc with my team. That way we can kind of collaborate. So I don't have to physically be there. But if we're working, I don't know, on an upcoming project, we both can kind of see the work. We can both kind of collaborate. And this is something that no matter where I am at, I can access that. A lot of times before, when I was only using like Microsoft Word on my laptop, well, if I don't have my laptop with me, then I can't access those things, right? But when I moved to Google, you have Google Sheets, you have Google Slides, literally anything that I'm looking for, I'm able to connect with my team using Google. So Google is my favorite. And then the only other suggestion I would give is like you can do like an e-scanner, you can do e-fax. I believe in a parent communication app. So like all of these things just makes it easy so I can invoice parents on the go. When I first started off, I was manually giving invoices because I didn't have a lot of kids. But then when I got busy, parents ain't gonna tell you that you forgot to invoice them. They think like, oh, it's got a free week of care. They know they didn't get no free week of care. But you're so doing all the things. So just having that just allows you to streamline and just keep up with everything.
There are so many facts in that example. Yeah, so we moved to ProCare because we used to do everything on QuickBooks, and this is our first year at ProCare. And let me tell you, I loved it. This is not sponsored by ProCare. They don't pay me any money. But let me tell you, at the end of the year, when it was tax time, and I did not have to print out end of the year, I can't even. It was like Christmas for me. I was like, yeah, it's right on your portal. You can just pull it up, print it out, or just pull it up, send it to your accountant. So yeah, those little things save you lots of time and money for sure. And then also I like what you said about the Google Docs, because not only can you guys work as a team, but isn't it great to just have everything there so that way when you have multiple locations, everybody has access to the same documents. They're not looking for binders, right? There's that form, because that we've had that too. I mean, I've been doing this 25 years. So, 20 years ago, we had binders. Like, here's the form, make the copy. So yeah, I think that is great advice to save folks some quality. As we wrap up, what final advice or words or wisdom do you have for childcare directors who are navigating the challenges of scaling up and maintaining quality?
So I would say just assess your why. Reflect back on why you decided to start this business and stay true to that. And when it comes to quality, understand that it's an ongoing process, right? We can't just want the kids. We can't just want all of these locations. We have to invest in them. So that means that if you're fly, like if I see you and you all dress cute, then I'm expecting, if I come to your center, I'm expecting your center to be cute. I'm expecting that you are investing that money. So just remember that as you're growing, invest back into your team. Okay, because you're not able to be successful without great teachers in place. Okay, I want you to invest into your classrooms, invest into your curriculum, and just maintain the quality and the licensing compliance always. You want to make sure that as you get bigger, that same thing that parents always loved about you, that is still true, whether or not you have 25 children or if you have 100. Okay, so we definitely want to make sure that we maintain that quality always.
That's great advice. That's great advice. So thank you so much for sharing that with our listeners. Before we head out, if you love this episode, please let us know. Leave us a review. I'm going to put your contact information in the show notes below so folks are able to contact you if they would like to do that. I feel like we are probably related. We literally have the same thoughts on so many aspects around scaling up and qualities. Again, remember, it's the small details that make a big impact on the success of your childcare business. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day. Bye.
Well, all the cute little kiddos have been picked up and it's time to go home. And that'll do it for another episode of the Childcare Director's Chair. Please leave a review so Erica knows the information is helping you to manage and improve your childcare centers. Remember to subscribe to get the latest episode from Erica's Childcare Director's Chair.